Hello, I'm Brittany, Troop 1 Beavers Patrol, and today I'm your Botany Merit Badge trainer. I know, Brittany, Botany, it's kind of a thing. I get that all the time. No big deal, really. Well, I've got some really cool plant knowledge to share with you today, so put a little catnip between your cheek and gum, curl up in front of the screen, and get ready to be amazed. Most new Cat Scouts have had very little exposure to plants when they first join. When you think of plants, you think of something like this, or maybe something like this, or you may occasionally get a little plant life in your meals, especially if your tummy's upset. If your big brother is a hooligan, you may have seen his stash of this plant. But there's so much more to the world of plants out there in the wilderness. Whether you are exploring the desert, a pine forest, the coastline, a dark and moist rainforest, or the wide open prairie, there are amazing plants out there for Cat Scouts to discover, study, and enjoy. What are plants anyway? Well, a plant is a living organism of the kind exemplified by trees, shrubs, herbs, grasses, ferns, and mosses, typically growing in a permanent site, absorbing water and inorganic substances through its roots, and synthesizing nutrients in its leaves by photosynthesis using the green pigment chlorophyll. That's a fancy way of saying they're animals without faces or tails that don't run around and that don't compete with us for food. Of course, that still leaves open the question of food or yikes. It turns out that it depends very much on the specific plant. Some plants are very low on the food and yikes scale. They're edible and pose no threat, while a few are problematic and have a high yikes rating, as we'll see later. Why should you care? Well, plants are a vital part of our world because they make oxygen for us to breathe and they supply food for critters that ultimately end up in our food bowls. They are also often pretty big, or pretty small, and sometimes pretty awesome. Without plants, the world would be drab. Plants make up much of the outside world and they make it very colorful. Mostly green, but lots of little bits of other colors too. It's hard to see all those colors since we cats don't see colors all that well, but to make up for it, many plants have very interesting smells, which we can detect up close and sometimes at quite a distance. Remember what happened when you found yourself for the first time in the middle of a forest and you breathed in the big fresh scent of pine trees? It was like the Christmas tree, only all year long, and you don't get yelled at for messing around with them. Let's take a look at plant structure and how plants are built. The basic layout of this plant is shown in this illustration. You got a flower, you got fruit, a seed, leaf, stem, shoot, and root. As you can see, there are no jaws, no claws, not even a mouth. So far, so good. They don't make sounds to speak of, but if there's an interesting smell to be had, it tends to come from either the leaves or the flowers. As to whether you can eat them, well, we'll get into that just a little bit later. Let's look at plant behavior. What do plants do? Well, plants are kind of boring. They basically stay in one place all the time with one exception. That's a tumbleweed. Our scientists are still trying to work out what exactly is going on with those. As for plants in general, mainly all they do is drink water from the sky, eat dirt, breathe air, and grow. When it comes to growing, some plants take forever to reach any significant size. This is a bristlecone pine, which lives for 1 to 2,000 years or longer, and they grow to maybe 20 feet in height. At the other extreme, there's a big grass plant called bamboo. It's pretty slow too. By comparison, it would win a growing race with the bristlecone hands down. They can grow to 20 feet in only 4 years. Plants have a strange ability to live off dirt, water, the carbon dioxide in the air, and sunlight. They do this through a biochemical process called photosynthesis, which means to make something with light. Their leaves combine these ingredients to make their own food. Not only that, when the plants poop, they poop an odorless gas that cats need, oxygen, so we can breathe it in. So when you're breathing plant poop. As seen in this next illustration, this arrangement is somewhat the opposite of what we cats do. Although we both take in water and sunlight, cats breathe in the oxygen, then breathe out carbon dioxide. So in a way, plants and cats feed each other, or at least we help each other to survive. There are over 410,000 species of plants. They will not all be on the test, though. Just these common types of plants, roughly arranged in the order of how big they are. So these little circle thingies are called plankton. Plankton lives in the ocean and resembles a koosh ball. They require a microscope to see. Grass is something you're probably familiar with. It can be a wonderful place to hide or eat if you feel like you're going to hurl. Flowers are very nice to stop and smell when you have a moment. Watch out for hurdy flies so you don't end up with a big swollen nose. Oh, do you know what kind of flower grows on your face? Anybody? Tulips. Oh. Well, here's a bush. There's something strange about this one. I'm not quite sure what. There's trees that are good for climbing. By the way, how do trees get on the internet? That's a question that I'll answer at the end of this presentation, so stay tuned and don't log off early. Then there's the giant fungus. Believe it or not, when you see something like this, it may be part of a connected group of these things, and they can grow into enormous colonies, kind of like one of those alien invasion movies. Here's one seen from space. Fortunately, no jaws or claws, and it's mainly underground where it can't hurt you. Still, it's kind of creepy, and if you eat them, a lot of times they're poisons, so steer clear of these. By the way, why is the mushroom always invited to parties? Anybody? Because he's a fun guy. I crack myself up. Let's look at some edible plants, the plants you can eat. As noted, you are probably already familiar with catgrass. Catgrass refers to any number of cat-friendly grasses, including wheat, oat, and barley grasses. Although these grasses are not stimulants like catnip, cats are drawn to occasionally eat small amounts. It's good for digestion and an aid in resolving hairballs and providing nutrients less common in pet foods. Catgrass is an easy and attractive way to support cat health. There's also lemongrass, which is a mild stimulant that offers the same benefits as some of the other cat-appropriate grasses. Lemongrass is a favorite to have around for cats and humans alike. It's easy to cultivate indoors or out. Then there's mint. Cats love the smell of mint, and mint plants like catmint are easy and prolific growers, which means they're hard to kill and they breed like rabbits, making it a popular choice when feline destruction is at hand. Cats are more likely to sniff and roll around in mint than eat it, but peppermint can cause an upset stomach if eaten in large amounts, so be careful. Everyone's favorite, catnip, is also a member of the mint family, and it has a well earned reputation as a favorite for cats. Although its intoxicating effects only affect about 50% of cats, those who love it are sure to let you know. Catnip is non toxic, it's easy to grow, and it drives many cats to a joyful frenzy. This one may be better grown out of Paul's reach and its leaves harvested as an occasional treat. Don't overdo it. Valerian has white flower clusters that attract pollinators to the yard, and its root is sometimes employed as a calmative and sleep aid in humans. But this pungent plant is also a stimulant for cats, and it triggers a response similar to that of catnip. Sometimes, if catnip doesn't work for you, you can get high on valerian. Valerian is sometimes used in perfumes, although most humans find the odor objectionable. They say it smells like damp gym socks that were left in your gym bag for 2 weeks. Cat thyme is a slow grower. It's another surprising feline stimulant that's often effective with cats for whom catnip has no impact. So check it out. It blooms in summer with strong scented pink flowers. Cats love the taste of licorice root, but it also happens to be very good for our health. It's an anti inflammatory, so it can soothe arthritic joint pain, it promotes liver health, and it can help resolve digestive issues. The most important thing you need to take away from this lecture is that there are plants that can be dangerous, and so you don't want to take a bite of them and then have to go to the hospital. Dangerous plants, the yikes plants, don't have jaws or claws, and they can't run after you or squirt stink at you or hurt your ears with awful noises, but you still need to avoid them because they can make you sick if you eat them, and they can cause you pain if you poke at them. So don't eat them, and don't play with them, and steer clear if you see them. There's a list. Download it and keep it with you so you can refer to it when you're out in the field. Some of these will be on the test. One of a cat's favorite plants all time is the tree. The urge to climb cannot be denied, and trees provide an excellent opportunity to satisfy that urge. A word of caution, however, some trees are high on the yikes scale, and once they have you, they will not easily let you go. Now, a store-bought tree for indoor use is fine. It's designed for safety and comfort. I have not, by the way, ever seen one of these on hikes or camping trips, and it's unclear what their geographic range is. There is one irresistible one that you may have seen recently. Don't you just want to climb it? Of course you do. How high can you go? Higher? Made it! And finally, here at the bottom, you're thinking, my work here is done. But beware, there are consequences, for this is the climb of a hooligan cat, not a cat scout.